percentage of things that cut across in everything, but there are those things that are different. So for me, it's the curiosity of how the different spaces work. That's why I've been moving from one industry to another. Though love, I love and have the heart for hospitality industry, and currently I'm learning the NGO space. So it's quite interesting for me, basically. In terms of HR, I really love employee relations because I am a people's person. So I like that people interaction. I like helping people. I like helping people move from one point to another, helping develop them. So that gives me a satisfaction in some kind of way. So that's why in HR, I love employee relations. Also, I am a mentor. I am a mentor. I'm part of a group called iTeam. What we do is we mentor young minds. So that is people in high school and also people in university. We mentor and coach them on various aspects of life and also various aspects when it comes to career choices. And for the people in university is more training them on the job market, what to look for, how to prepare themselves. So I'm a mentor in that aspect. So that is basically me in a nutshell. Out of work, I love cooking. It gives me, I normally say it's my stress reliever. Recently, I was in an interview and they asked me, how do you handle stress at work? And I really didn't know how to answer the question. And I told them, I normally separate my work life and my personal life. So I take stress as a personal thing. So I'll do my job, but when I go home, I'll cook to relieve my stress because that is the only way I relieve my frustrations. So out of work, I cook, and I feel nice about it. It gives me joy. There's that satisfaction where you take this level of stress and take the onions and put in the oil, and it fries, and the stress is just gone away. So that's how it works with me. So for fun, I cook. So my story basically is uh, first I normally say my story is the one that inspires me. I normally many people tend to have that thing of I am inspired by someone else. I am inspired by someone else's story, which is okay and it helps. But sometimes I tell people, look at yourself and let your own story inspire you and push you to where you want to be. My story is simple. 11 years ago, 11 years ago when I started working, basically, I started as a cleaner in one of the restaurants in town, Nairobi. And it's not a job that I wanted to do. It's not a job that I had planned to ever do, but it's what came at that time. And as you know how things work, whatever you get, you move with it and see how it goes. So I took the job and I got the interest. I put all my heart in it because that's what God had given me at that point. And while I was a cleaner, I trained. I became a cook. That's where the passion of cooking is. So I did that for a while, but I was not contented with what I was doing because where I was at that point, I used to see like people in management level not taking care of the employees. So I really thought, and I was like, I really need to be in a position that I can help these people who don't have a voice. Wale wanyonge wa organization, the people who are in lower positions that don't have a voice, they need someone to speak for them because they came to understand most leaders, most supervisors just think of themselves and how they will grow, but don't think of the team and people who are below them. So I didn't want to be in an environment that I felt people are selfish and they're not helping me in a way that I can be able to grow. And so that's why I trained. I decided to stop being a cleaner. I became a cook. From there, I moved and became a storekeeper in a different organization. Now, the transitioning here was was a weird one because also I tell people in the job market, sometimes you have to lose to win later. Because at that time, I went for a lower job in a smaller company with a lower pay, but with a vision of looking forward, telling myself if I learn this new skill in terms of stock management, in terms of procurement, if I learn this new skill in the next 1 year, I'll be in a better place than where I used to be as a cook. So I used to look at the vision from a bigger perspective. So, and I moved on that way. I'm that person I'm a very determined person. And one thing that all my employers have been telling me all along is I'm very ambitious. And some tell me it might finish me at some point, it might bring me down at some point. It's all about how you strategize and move around your ambitions. So that's how I look at it. I'm not saying they're wrong or they're right. It's just about me as a person knowing myself so much, knowing myself in a way where I want to place myself. So you're the only person who will see your vision. You'll explain it to other people, they might not see it, but you're the only one who sees it and understands it and can maneuver ways to get to where you want to be. So in my journey, I managed to go to school, learn learn things about HR because now that was my interest. I needed a position that I can be able to help others grow, teach, and mentor. I wanted to be in that space. I didn't know how, but God always just works way around the efforts that I put. So I managed to go to school. I managed to get a HR position, and from the HR position, I managed to now help people and now get to that satisfaction level that I know I've managed to help this person move from here to here. I've managed to help this person grow. I've managed to advise this person in this and this. And personally, now I'm at a level where that is my satisfaction. When I touch someone's heart, that is my satisfaction basically. And so, yeah, so far that's how my journey has been. I've been out of jobs a lot. I think the maximum I've worked in an organization is 3.5 years. And you find I move because either there's redundancy that has happened, or there's a contract that has ended and the organization is not renewing, or career progression. So it also depends on what is making you move or what is making you look for a job. So depending with your situation, it also now comes to the strategies that you use at that point. Because it's very different when someone is just looking for career progression. So their rate of looking for jobs is very low, and it's like a by the way, compared to someone whose contract has ended and they don't have any other option. Those people will put themselves so much out there in the market to look at what is happening. So it depends in which level you are at and what do you want to look for. Because also sometimes there are those positions that are very tricky to find. So you'll take quite a while before you find something, depending on how the job market is. So that has been my story. Uh, and it inspires me from when I look back today from where I used to be 11 years ago and where I am today. It's a very huge step, and that like it shows me like when I'm low, I tell myself, you've managed to get here, so there is a bigger picture still coming. No matter how tough things are at the moment, there's a bigger picture. I always have the hope, I always have the faith, and I always make sure I have positive people in my corner during this job search period, because the negative people will drain you so much. And because like you're telling someone, I'm looking for this job, then they tell you, oh, you don't have the qualifications, or you don't have someone in that organization to help you get. So I try remove negativity in this job search period because it's frustrating. It's draining. So I tend to have positive people around me during that period. So that is one thing that has also helped me so much in the job space. Because when you work for a short time, then you're out of work, starting back again. Everyone is judging you. Why did you work for a short time there? So it's then you go to an interview and they ask you explain your gap, and you don't have a reason of explaining a good reason to cover up the gap question. So it's a very tricky thing for people in the job market, which I totally understand. But yes, for me, I would testify that it's been tough, but I've always maneuvered all along. I've gone to very many interviews. I've managed to go to organizations that I never thought I would ever be interviewed for. I've managed to be interviewed with embassies, like, and even when I go to those interviews, I just take my confidence, but at the back of my mind, I'm still asking my question like, how did I get to this shortlist? How did I get to this shortlist? So yeah, that is basically my journey, and I like sharing it so that people can understand no matter what position you are at right now, or no matter what situation you're at, there's always some light at the end of the tunnel. You just need to be patient. You just need to be consistent. You need to persevere. There is some light at the end of the tunnel. The mistake that many people make during this job search period is they give up. You give up and settle for whatever you get. That is the biggest problem that I think many people do. You give up and settle for less, or you act very desperate so people take advantage of you and they give you whatever they feel like. So those are the things that I think many people make mistakes in this job period when you're looking for a job. So I'll jump into the search strategies. So how to be successful in your search? So one, you must have a plan. So you must have a plan. Now, under your plan, you must know what you want. You can't go job searching and say, these people who always say, nitafutie kazi, then you ask them, what are you looking for? Then they tell you any job. That is very wrong, because like you assuming you have a degree, and you tell someone any job. If someone tells you, come and be a carpenter, you'll jump and say, no, you see, I've gone to school, blah, blah. So you have to be specific on what you're looking for. I'm not saying being specific on what you're looking for, you should let go of other opportunities that are helping you survive. There's a difference. That's how I separate them. You can have that job, assuming you're doing sales currently, but you have a degree in economics and you want to transition. So you must be specific on the roles that you're looking for that are covered under your economics qualification. So you must be specific in the plan. But yes, you can be doing this sales job currently while you're searching for that specific job. It's not like you're doing sales and you're still searching for anything out there. So you have to be specific so that also you can be able to know how to maneuver. Now, after understanding the specific roles that you're looking for and their qualifications, if you feel you have the qualifications, you now do the market research. Look at it from a point of view, as I explained, I've worked in various industries. When you look at sales can go across all industries, but how you might find how sales operate in an FMCG space is very different with how sales operates in a excuse. You might find sales operating in FMCG is quite different from how sales operates in a fintech space, or how sales operates in a consultancy space. So you need to know, I want to pursue this. So with the skills that I have, how do I think, do I think I can be able to fit best in this industry or in the hospitality industry? Where can I fit best? And sometimes look at it longer. Don't look at short term, whereby I want to get here for the next 4 months, then we will get a plan after that. Look at it, even if it's getting a plan after that, have that plan in mind now. So this is what I want to do. I want to get into this industry, learn this for this long, then move maybe to this other industry. So you really need to know where to place yourself, because as I said, different industries work differently for different roles. So, or even for the same roles, in industries, they work differently. So you really need to do market research to know that where do you want to be placed, or where do you want to place yourself career-wise, in which industry that are you comfortable with? Can you maneuver? Can you deliver? Like that. So that makes things quite easier. Then you must have your qualifications aligned with the requirements. When you already now know the roles you're looking for, you already know what those roles require for you to get in. Look at the qualifications that you have. So if you have a degree and a degree is needed, it's okay. If you have a diploma, maybe they're saying diploma person is needed, a degree is an advantage, still okay. So you just need to go down how many years of experience are needed. So you package yourself first. After you package yourself in terms of the qualifications, you like know these are the requirements and these are my qualifications. My qualifications match the requirements of these 10 roles that I can fall under in my category. So when you're that way, you find like you have more confidence even in applications, because you won't like second guess yourself. Oh, will they consider me? Will I be part of the shortlist? Will I? There is no that second guessing if you're very confident that you fit the qualifications. The problem here is people you just say, let me try, and you just apply. So you're applying for something out of your scope. You're applying for something that you don't fit even 30% of the requirements. Then you'll come back and ask, why am I not being considered for any roles out here? So I think that is a problem that many people make. And it's something that you need to just look at. Just package yourself with your plan, with your roles, with the research that you've done, which industry fits you best, and with the requirements that you know that is needed for the roles. Then now you have one good package. So now you know with all this, I can now look for something confidently, or I can go ask someone in that industry to assist me get something, because you're already confident, you've packaged yourself in terms of those three things. Now, the second thing is, after packaging yourself like that, there's the other fact of where are you searching for the jobs. Now, I do not believe, and okay, I know it works, but personally, I don't believe on the statement of that many people say, lazima ujuane na mtu, lazima mtu akusort, lazima utoe kitu kidogo ndo uingie mahali fulani. I do not believe in that. From a personal perspective, I only believe, one, in myself, two, in what I'm presenting to people, and three, my God. Those are the three things that personally I work with. I do understand, yes, there's that fact that is out there, but also I tend to feel that whatever you believe is whatever will happen. So if you keep on believing that I'll apply for a job in company X, assuming company X is an international organization, but you've applied, yes, but you still keep telling yourself, I cannot be called for an interview in this place because this place they need you to know someone uko ndani. I do not believe in that. So if you believe that, imagine whatever you believe is what will happen. So will forever never be called to that place because you've already created that fate. Because Mother Nature also just works that way. That's what you believe, that's what you think will happen. So it will still just happen. But if you say, I'm applying in company X, I know I'm qualified, they will call me. Yes, they might not call you tomorrow, but at some point they will call you. So you need to know where you're searching for these opportunities. Number one, right now with many people in the job market, you'll see there are very many HRs, consultants who assist in CV writing, LinkedIn or optimization. So and many people push you to that side per se. But the other thing that you need to look at, not like you can pay someone to create your LinkedIn, but it doesn't mean them creating your LinkedIn is a direct ticket to get a job. So that's also a misconception that people tend to have. So one is on social media, I tend to tell people have a LinkedIn that is up to date, have a LinkedIn that explains you. When someone just goes to your profile and they see, okay, this person fits it. Because also we have recruiters, I call them, okay, in my own way, I call them ghosts, uh, ghosts per se. Because you see, like when you go to LinkedIn and you find that this person, someone used your profile, but you can't see the person. These are, most of them, you find them, they are recruiters. They are recruiters. So someone can just come pop in your profile, look. Then you'll just know someone has checked, but you can't know who checked. So if your LinkedIn is not up to date, it doesn't explain you, so it doesn't market you. So also on LinkedIn, you're looking for a job in a let's say in a medic space. You're not following any organizations in that space. You're not following or connecting with people in that space. How do you expect to see these jobs when they are being advertised? So on LinkedIn, I tend to tell people LinkedIn is a key thing for me in my life. I say you can create this the same way with Gen Zs. I normally give the example of, I normally ask the question, how much time do you spend on Telegram, not on Instagram, and how much time do you spend on TikTok? Those are the questions I normally ask them. Then I normally tell them, you see the same amount of time you're using in those two platforms. Imagine if you invest that time, or even not the entire time, because you must have fun as a human being, but if you invest half that time on LinkedIn in connecting with people, in interacting with people, in connecting with organizations, or connecting with recruiters, engaging with them, uh, talking to them, or expressing your interest in the various places. If you invest that amount of time each day you're in LinkedIn for some time to do this, for some time to do this, like that. You with time, you'll start seeing the results in terms of you'll now be seeing the job opportunities in the space you're looking for, because now you see them posting. You'll be able to get alerts from LinkedIn that this job has been posted and it matches your qualifications. So for me, I look at it as the bigger picture in terms of job search. So I tell anyone who's not on LinkedIn, they're really missing out a lot. Number two is out there are very many job groups in terms of WhatsApp and Telegram. If you can be able to join these groups, there are those people who join groups, then they mute, then they say, these groups, they send so many jobs, they can't go through them. So you can't go through those jobs, but you're looking for a job. So why are you even in the group? So that's another challenge. Someone wants, my own example is someone can tell me, I'm looking for a job. Then I'll tell them, if I hear something, I'll tell you. Then I will send you a group. I'll send you let's say a WhatsApp group to join. Then you join that group. You're in that group, I am in that group. So whatever is being posted in that group, we are all supposed to see. But you find I will see it and you won't see it. So my question is, why are you not seeing it and we're in the same group? So I see what I see, then I share with you. I'll do that for a while, but you can't. I normally say I can't. I can't give you fish every day. I will show you how to fish. So I'll give you fish for a while. So I'll give you the few adverts that I see or see from different groups. But I'll show you how to fish. I'll give you the links of the groups. Whether you join or not, for me, I have done the part. So you also have to be intentional. You have to dedicate yourself. You know your problem. So you have to follow these social media spaces to know, because this is it's a digital era. It's very hard to not know what is being posted in these things, especially if you're in the job market. Number two is the job sites, recruitment firms, and also recruiters. So if you follow recruiters and follow recruitment firms, go to their websites. When many of their websites, you have to create a profile. Create a profile, and do not create a profile for the sake of just creating a profile. Create a profile as if you're applying for a job, because whenever they have an opportunity, they will go to their database, they will look at a profile that is presentable and fits what they're looking for. So if you just create a profile for the sake of creating profiles, then it will not help you. So you'll never get an opportunity, and you'll keep wondering, why am I in this platform and I'm not getting any opportunities? It's a matter of go look at the job sites, look at what they're advertising, look at is your profile up to date. Then now at least you'll be confident and say, I am good with this. With this recruitment firm, their website, I'm good. With this recruitment firm, I'm good. With this recruiters, I've followed here, and there. So on LinkedIn, you can be able to know very many recruiters and follow them and see what they post on daily basis. They are always active. So also I tell people, be very active on LinkedIn, be active on WhatsApp, be active on Telegram, because a job can be posted now, and by evening, they've gotten the few people that they wanted, depending on how fast the placement is. So that really helps a lot. Now, company websites also post, because you might find companies post on their website and they don't post on other platforms. So you also have to do your search. Look at the companies that you intend to work for, then go to their career space and check their career page and check what do they have. Can I apply? Does it fit me? And all that. That you have to do by yourself. Now, the other thing is attending job fairs. You find that some of these things I normally see them in Sarit Center. Some companies come set up. The last one I had was at KICC. It was a big one, where even, if I'm not wrong, the president went there and all that. So if you do not create time for these things, if you do not create, and if you're that kind of person that will tell someone, oh, you go, then you let me know, that person will go there with their own interest and focus on their own interest. Then they'll give you the little information that you want to hear, but they won't be there for you. So you have to create. If you hear these things and you have time, go. You never know which organization is there. You never know what opportunities will be presented there. And some things, it might not be for there and then. They might be having a role maybe in the next 2-3 months. But if they give you their process of how to apply, how to get into the organization, you have an upper hand. So these functions tend to help a lot. So if you have time, go. The other thing is joining professional organizations. These ones help a lot. I know in HR we have IHRM. There's another one for people under accounting. So I know when you join these organizations, one, they normally have networks. So through them, you can be able to know which organizations are looking for people. Because also there are let's say some big organizations that tend to trust this organization. So when they have roles, they normally reach out to them first. Do you know people or do you have profiles that can fit this? Then if they don't find what they see, then they can decide to advertise. So depending on the processes of different organizations, you find that these organizations tend to help people a lot. If you're members, if you're active, if you're following them on with what they're doing. So you find that they also have roles that maybe other organizations have reached out. So I say it is important because it helps. Now, the other thing is marketing yourself well. No one knows you out here. No one cares if you exist. That is the real truth. Now, how do I make someone in a company that doesn't know me? I don't know anyone there, but I want them to recognize me. So how do I do that? How do I sell myself to them so that they see I'm a person of value? I'll go back. Number one, LinkedIn. if you've done as many applications as I've done, one thing I've come to notice in 2024, yes, that this is something that I've gone through a lot in 2024. You find that companies, especially big organizations, they have stopped asking, send your CV on this, send your CV on this. They tell you, kindly share your LinkedIn uh, profile. So imagine in a like those Google Sheets per se for doing applications. So you find that you just need to paste your LinkedIn profile. There's nowhere that you'll put your CV that they'll go back and check and see. So it will support you if this thing does not work. If LinkedIn does not support you, your CV will support you. So in such scenarios, your LinkedIn has to be good so that when they just go to your LinkedIn, they can be able to understand you, they can be able to understand your skills, they can be able to understand your experience. So I'm not saying paste your CV on your LinkedIn, I'm not saying that, but your CV should be able to sell you for that particular role you're looking for. It's advantageous where you'll have to paste your LinkedIn profile and also you'll attach your CV. So if your LinkedIn doesn't sell you, they might go back to your CV and check. But where you just need to use your LinkedIn alone, that means it needs to be in a good way that it can sell you. So you have to have a good CV either way. When you do an application, then those CVs, like HR's, one application can bring up to 300 applicants. As a HR, you need to go through the 300 applicants per se if you don't have a system that sieves things in a particular way. But I know many HRs are still adapting the systems. So many of them are still in the old school where they just go through CV by CV by CV like that. If you're going through 100, you're going through even 200 CVs per se, you will take like 2 to 3 minutes on one CV. So your CV should be so catching and has the key things, because like as a HR, at the back of my mind, I know the requirements that I'm looking for and I know what the role entails. So when I just go through your CV, I need to see the key things that are needed. If they are not there, then you're out. You see, then if your CV is too long, I remember when I was starting way back in 20, way back, I had a 7 page and it was okay at that point. Since I didn't know much, so for me, I was like, I have a very good CV. It is 7 pages. It's explaining everything about me. But I went by good luck. For me, God works in different ways. I got a HR who told me this will not work. This will not give you a job. No one will go through a 7 page CV. It needs to be very, very small, very direct, and it sells you more. So you have to have a good CV. There's no two way about it. There are those CVs that you just, I won't lie, there are those CVs that HRs just open. Page one, they look at it, it does not look interesting, they close. I'll tell you for a fact. They just page one, they have not even gotten to page two to see your experience and all. They just open page one, the CV is not giving. Let me use that word. Page one, CV is not giving, they don't go to page two, they go to the next person. So that one you don't have two ways about it. For me, I am very I've taken time to be creating my own CV to the point that I am very confident if I do an application today in any organization. The only place I've never tried is government, but in any organization, any private entity, I know if I send my CV, I will be top 10 shortlist. I am that confident for a HR role. If I'm applying for a purely HR role, I am very confident in any organization. If I send my CV today, I will be top 10 shortlist. It takes time to get to that point because it's taken me years to create my CV to get to that point. So you need to have that confidence. Okay, apply a job. will this CV be put on one side or this CV will be put on the shortlist? So you need to know. You need to know that. Then you need to create. Usually, creating a brand. Creating a brand is what can people associate with you. So you are an accountant, okay? What can people? How can you make people uh, think? As in, when they think of anything in accounts, they think of you. So you need to create a brand. This mostly, I say, you do it on social media, and when it comes to the job market, I say on LinkedIn. So you can create a brand in terms of you can be posting specific articles. You can be able to do something that makes you stand out from the rest. Mm. Uh, I'll give an example of a good friend of mine. He's in HR. He's called his name. I've forgotten his name. So what he has done basically is, for him, he looked at what is what are many people not talking about in HR, and he saw a niche. Oh, his name is Nelson Onguda. He's a very nice young gentleman. So he saw a niche in analytics. So he's in HR. He can do general HR, yes, but he saw this. With this, I can be able to stand out. With this, I can be able to give this expertise, and he decided to put himself in that space. So anywhere you see, like right now, if you ask anyone in the HR space, who do you know can teach about analytics, can be able to perform analytics roles? Well, he'll be among the first five that any HR will mention. So he created a brand. So you need to create a brand to stand out so that you don't do everything that everyone is doing. As I said, right now there are very many HRs, they are doing CVs, they are doing LinkedIn. So I was also asking a friend of mine, this is what you're doing. Very okay, I support it, but how do you stand out from the rest? Because if you're doing, it's like Mama Mboga is selling skuma and this other next Mama Mboga is selling skuma. So the only difference you find that this Mama Mboga decides, maybe I'll be selling and I'll be chopping. If someone needs the chopping services, I'll be chopping. So this Mama Mboga stands out, and this one remains like I'm just selling. So you have to create a brand. Then, as I said earlier, you have to create profiles in the various job platforms. There are very many organizations, well-established organizations, but when you go to try and apply opportunities, you have to create a profile. Many people tend to get to the profile place, then they say, ah, hii ni kazi mingi, I'll do it later. Which is good, you do it later. But there's someone somewhere who gets to that point and does it at that time. So by the time you are coming to do it later, probably that opportunity has been considered for the other person. So when you better create the profile, let it just be there. They have everything, they can contact you when needed. Now, the other thing, as I said, I do mentorship, and we mentor young minds. I prefer dealing with young people, but Gen Z are very tricky. So if you can have a mentor, so you can have even very many mentors, but I don't. I normally say have a mentor who you're getting something specific from them. It's not calling someone that you know your mentor, calling your friend a mentor, calling your previous bosses because they're your referees a mentor. That person you consider as a mentor should be teaching you something that you are lacking. Should be. It's not like a mentor is okay. A mentor is there to advise for sure, but if you say the role of a mentor is to just advise, so what is the difference between that? Why is that person being called a mentor and any other person can advise on the same matter? So I normally say have a mentor either in your space. Mostly mentors in your space will help you grow in your career because they understand it, they have been there before, they have gone through the same challenges, so they can be able to advise. And the best part is, since they've gone through all this, they have a network, so they can be able to introduce you to their network, and you can be able to even be referred for a role. Because sometimes even these organizations, before they advertise, they reach out to the people that like the HRs reach out to the HRs that they know. Do you know someone in this? Do you know someone in this? So if you're within that circle that your mentor knows, you're good in this, they will refer you without thinking twice. So having mentors who can guide you and also be there for you through your career journey is very, very important, because you'll be able to learn a lot. Now, be open to people who have opportunities and express yourself to let them know you're open for opportunities. What people don't, I'm a very weird human being. When, as I am unemployed, you see. So since I'm unemployed, I go for an event. As young people, we want to create an impression that we are all in the same level. Oh, you are working. Yeah, I'm working. I'm also working. I'm just working for a small company. I won't give details because at the back of my mind, I know I am not employed. Now, the problem is this person that you might be talking to, probably they have an opportunity, and you have not, they already know, you've already given them an impression that you're working, you're okay, all is well. So they won't bother. So since I'm that weird guy, when I introduce myself, I just tell them I am I am so and so, I am in this field, but currently I'm not working, I'm looking for something. So this person already has it in mind that I am looking for something. So as I said, the biggest problem that people mtu hataki kuonekana ati, oh, if I tell people they'll see my problems. Let them see your problems, but let them help you. Then you're hiding your problems, you can't help yourself, and no one is there to help you. So I normally say express yourself. It's not that you're expressing yourself to everyone you meet in town. Oh, I'm looking for a job. No, no. You express yourself to the specific people that you look and see they can be able to help you in this journey to get what you want. So be open and just talk to people and explain to them what you're going through. As I mentioned earlier, you should build your network professionally, because that is what will give you the opportunities. If you, like in the HR space, if you follow many HRs in on LinkedIn or recruiters, those are the people who are posting. Those are the people that have opportunities. So you'll be able to see. If you are in the nursing field, if you follow the various hospitals and doctors and nurses, they're the ones who understand the space. They're the ones who've seen. If you want to be in the NGO space, follow follow the organizations under that, so that you can be able to see. Follow the HRs that even you as a job seeker, the way recruiters go stalking people on LinkedIn is the same. You as a job seeker, you go stalk that recruiter, connect with them, send them a message. And networking is not, I meet you today, I want a job today. Networking is more of a gradual thing, pole pole. Day one, let the person know you, an introduction. Day two is when you're now coming to tell them, like, oh, can you help in this and that and that, like that. They might not be able to help, but they might know someone else who can be able to help. And that's how you build your network slowly by slowly. It takes time. That's why you find someone on LinkedIn. I have 30,000 followers. You wonder how did they get there? They were just following these people, while others are following them because they feel influenced by what these people are posting and all that. So you have to build your network. You do not have to worry about it. You'll so that it can help you grow. Now, this is one thing I mentioned it earlier, but people do not take time to do. 90% of job seekers, they want, we are looking for this person, these are the qualifications, kindly send CV to this email. 99% of job seekers want those kinds of applications. So that ataenda tu aeke email, a copy paste the body, kwa sababu ametuma the previous ones before, a copy paste the body, attach CV and cover letter na atume. Many people want that because it's faster, it's not tiring, you don't think too much. So try stand out. I normally tell people, why does everyone want to work in the NGO space or in the big organizations, but they don't want to go through the application process. They have so many difficult questions that they ask. The process is quite long. The application is super long. You have to do and save. Then you can even continue tomorrow if you want. So many people go halfway for that and leave. So now, assuming there's this job and 100 people have interest, 70 people have given up along the application process. It's because of the reason it's too long. Then the 30% go through the application till the end, of which from the 30%, approximately 10% are the only ones who qualify. So you might find with your qualifications, you are supposed to be part of the 10%. But since you decided to give up way early, you are out even before the process started. Then you'll ask someone who went through to the 10%, how did you get there? It's because they took their time. They created their time. They sacrifice, not create, they sacrifice. You'll find someone will tell you, I'm busy at work. After work, by the time I get home, it's late. I can't have time for this. I can't have time for that. If you do not create time to do that application, how do you expect to get that job? How do you expect to grow? From my experience, way back, I used to really like those send an email to. But I came to look at, okay. So I came to look at it from a different perspective. And when you look at these long applications, they have a greater advantage than that one send an email to. Because send an email to is, how would I put it? You'll be judged on your CV. This long application, you'll be judged on two things. One, your CV, and two, you will have opportunities to answer questions and express yourself in a better way. So even if your CV doesn't sell you much, you find you have a boost from how you've responded to the asked questions. So recently for me, from 2023, I shifted from thinking that these applications are actually, like right now, I love so much doing these long applications rather than doing the send CV. It's not that I don't do that. That one I still do, but I always keep my hope more on these longer applications because I can express myself more. I can give all the details. It's like an interview and not an interview at the same time. So you need to create time and be serious and intentional with applications. If whether you want to move from one job to another or whether you're looking for a place to start, you have to be serious. It's tiring. Looking for a job is like a job on its own. So if you don't create time for it, then don't expect to reap good fruits either way. Don't. So, but create time for it, and it doesn't come quite fast, but with time you'll start seeing the changes. You'll start understanding. When you start getting these responses, you'll start understanding, okay, I have changed my strategy of applications, and now here are the responses. Now, when it comes to applications, the other thing is the major thing that I came to understand, people are making small mistakes. Like when you're told, send your CV. Then you decide to send your CV, application letter, cover letter, all certificates, birth certificate, NSSF, and no one asked you for all those things. Or when you are told, send your CV and cover letter in one document. That is one thing that I've recently discovered. Many people are turning to that rather than sending them in separate. There are those people who are okay with them in separate documents, but many applications that I've been finding this year, this 2024, the ones that are asking one document with a cover letter and CV. Then you still decide to merge all the documents in one. that is something that you find like, depending, HRs are also human beings. Mtu ametoka kwake na frustrations. There are those who know how to separate work from home or their personal life. And there are those who don't want so much frustration. So you find that I told you to send TV and you've sent all this. You find something small like that, depending on which side of the bed that person woke up from, it might throw you out of an opportunity. Or you were told send this in one document, and you attach, you send like 5 or 6 things merged together. Something small like that can throw you off. So be key when you're making the applications, so that you can know what they're asking for. Just follow the instructions to the letter, because like there's no way you are qualified, you didn't follow instructions. This other person is qualified and they followed the instructions, and we are looking for one person and 10 of them followed the instructions. You are the 11th one. Chances of you being considered, your CV must really, really stand out, like by far, to be put part of the people who are shortlisted. So like, don't make it so difficult for yourself to get an opportunity by doing small things that are unnecessary. So yes, just take your time. I'm applying for this. Read the job description. Do you fit? Yes, I fit. What do they need? I do this, like that. Some people, there are these applications where I see you're told send your CV on this email and fill your details on this link. Then you click the link, it takes you to another page where you're supposed to fill your details. So you find that someone assumes I've already sent my CV. Then you decide, I'm not filling this. For them on their end, they look at, did this person fill this? Yes. Did this person send this? Yes, this one is in. You who sent one, you're out because of something very small, and it wouldn't have taken you much time. Now, the other thing in job applications, we are a million people out here who are looking for various jobs, be it in HR, be it in sales, be it in actuarial science. There are very many people are flooded out here. So if you see a job now, then decide, I don't have time now, or I can't create time today. I'll do it. I'll gather all the jobs and apply them over the weekend. Then there's this other person who decides, I have seen the job now. Let me either tailor make my CV right now on cover letter and share. You'll find that probably by the time sometimes jobs do not give a deadline date. Many people who are on WhatsApp and Telegram, they have seen that. Even some jobs on LinkedIn that are advertised, they don't give a deadline date. So when you decide to do them over the weekend, you'll find maybe if it's a Monday, by Thursday or by Wednesday, they've gotten enough CVs and they've closed that. So you are out. So you're doing just an application for the sake of apply. Then you keep asking yourself, why am I not getting opportunities? Now, like, this job is not waiting for you. You have to chase it. So if you see it, apply it there and then. Take advantage of that time. If you don't, others are. You have to think of, you have to be selfish. Usifikirie tu like, ni mimi peke yake nimeona hii job. It's a matter of ask yourself. I don't know if people are active as I am on this job platforms. There's sometime you might see a job in 10 WhatsApp groups. Then you see the same job in 3 or 4 Telegram groups. I go on LinkedIn, the job is there. So with that visibility, ask yourself, how many people have seen that job that you will apply over the weekend? So the job is not waiting for you at any given point. If you don't chase it, too bad for you, you'll keep searching. So as soon as you see the job, apply. Then, as I said, customize your application. Don't just use one application for all all, don't use like one CV and cover letter for all. It's a matter of you need to look at the needs. The needs of this organization and this role might be different. It might be, let me give you an example. Two organizations can be looking for a HR officer. When you look at the job descriptions, they are quite different. Because you'll find these HR officers might be doing different things because their scopes will be quite different depending with the organizations. So I can't use the same documents to apply for both because you might find the needs of this one and the needs of these ones are different. Or the responsibilities given to this HR officer here are being done by a HR assistant in this other organization. So they do not apply here. So you need to read, understand the requirements, then tailor make, be unique, make yourself stand out. That's what I'm saying. It all starts from the CV and cover letter. They have to be catchy, they have to be interesting. They don't have to be too long, too long. Sometimes there's a HR who told me sometimes you don't, you give the necessary information on a CV, make the recruiter or the HR curious to know you more, so they'll call you for an interview. I'm not saying omit things so that they'll call you. Give the necessary information on your CV that sells you, but also give it in a way that will make the HR curious. And they'll be like, this person is interesting. I would like to meet this person. So that makes you stand out. But if you go through 10 CVs, nothing is making you curious. You'll continue to and just search and search and search. Then you find someone like, okay. So you need to know how you can be able to make your documents or how you can be able to make yourself stand out. Now, during the job search time, because you're looking for a job, I prefer if someone can be able to learn a different skill. Learn something. Like right now, many people are trying to learn this AI stuff. So you might know, like, or digital marketing, or I've seen being a virtual assistant. Doesn't just learn a difference. It might not come handy there and then when you're learning it, but if you look at your career well, it might help you at some point. Because we in a very we are moving in a very digitalized era. So if you learn anything in that scope, you'll be able to you'll be able to have an upper hand. A good example is, why do people, like, that's a simple example is, why do people learn computer after high school? Or why do you think they've decided to do computer in school? Because it is a skill that you'll use forever, no matter where you go. So you can learn some skills that will help you in your growth in your career at some point. You never know. So don't, even if you're job searching, you don't have anything, just look at what can I be able to learn, so that you find it can also be able to assist you to move to the next level. And also it helps to sorry to say, but it helps to lie to HRs. And they ask you, explain your career gap. You can tell them, I've not been working, but I have been studying this. So it will make sense to them that, okay, this person has not been working for 5 months, so but during these 5 months he's been studying this. So it will like cover you in a way. But now, explain your career gap. I've just been searching. It doesn't give you so much weight. So if everything is 9 out of 9 within two candidates, and now one says, I have been doing, or I've been studying this skill, or I've been studying this guy gets a 10 and you're out simply of something very, 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 very small. Then the other thing that I encourage people to do is accept these internships or volunteer opportunities. They might start, some might be with no pay, or some might be with a stipend, but you never know. it can be a way of entering into an organization. In my own career, there's a HR mentor of mine that I really, really appreciate. At some point, I was employed by an organization as a contractor. And mi ni ule mtu wenye if I love something najituma, I give it my all and see how it goes. I really had like nitasemaje, I really wanted to work for that company as an employee because you see how they treat their employees, you see how happy the employees are. You just like admire. Why? Then you start asking, where am I contract? How can I get it? So number one, the one thing that I did, I networked with the people in the HR team. So after networking with people in the HR team, still as a contractor, I created a good relationship. They knew my work, they knew I can deliver and all that. Do you know when a role came up, they did not think of someone else. They just thought like, we already have someone, we just need to do the recruitment process. And that's how I managed to land myself in that organization. So if I had refused to be a contractor way back and said, no, I'm just looking for a job as an employee, this is the amount of money I want and all that, you'll find that I would have lost just that chance. Some things take time. They are not, things don't happen now, but you might start the process now, but within 2-3 months, things work your way and you get what you want. So the problem is many people don't want to do these things. Many people want to get into the job market. Many people want to be paid so much money because someone has done a degree or has a master's. So they feel like, I have a master's, I'm coming in for this role, I'm supposed to be getting 500K. Out here, it doesn't work that way. The economy is tough. So just live in the reality. You have a master's, you will still have to start as an intern in some organization. You will still have to volunteer with your masters. But now the problem is many people have that pride of, I have this qualification, I can't do this. Sometimes, as I said, in my career, at some point, I took a low job, low pay in a small organization. Simply because I was not looking at it at that point. I was looking at it, what will happen in a year? What skills would I have learned that can propel me to the direction I want? Sometimes you just need to take a step back, look at the thing in a holistic way, and look at the vision that you have. Because usipojituma huku nje pia, no one is there for you. No. And no, we are all fighting for these opportunities. If you don't stand out, you're out. So when you see these opportunities, don't just ignore them. Don't ignore them, because also you find that people are like, if I'm to be an intern in an international organization, I need to be paid 50,000. Who told you? Go start there, even if they are paying you 20 as an intern, but have the vision of, I can be here as an intern, I can be absorbed, and I'll get that 100,000 when I'm absorbed. There's this quote that people normally say, trust the process. We're in a generation that people don't want to trust the process. People want things quite quick. Personally, I don't go for quick things. In my journey, I've been shown by God that things are a process and things take time. But eventually, if you're focused, you'll get what you want. So ujitume tu and never give up. That is one thing I tell people. And when someone wants to give up, I still ask them, you want to give up? If you give up, then what? Even if you give up today, it's not that a job will come to your door tomorrow. You'll still give up, you'll still have to wake up, you'll still have to apply, you still have to go through a process and then get the job. So I always say in this journey of job search, there's no time to give up. There's no time to rest, and you have to create time to do your applications and do them right. Now, when it comes to applications, why I tell people to network, because personally, I've networked with very many HRs. So you find that there are those jobs that I'll see advertised on LinkedIn, or I might not see them on LinkedIn, I'll see them on Telegram or WhatsApp. And when I see them, before even I apply, I know this organization, I know this person. I call them. I've seen this. Do you think I can fit for me to apply? For me, I always say, I do not need you to smear me to get the job. Mm-mm. What I say is, I need an opportunity to get to the table to prove to the panel that I can do the job. So the problem is many people out here wanataka wasukumiwe job, wasukumiwe mpaka wapate hivi umeingia job ndo hii kazi, rather than looking at it from a perspective that ni hata kama ni kunisukumia, nisukumie nipate interview. Because look at it from many people in your network, they can push for you to get an interview, but they can't push for you to get a job. But the problem, the mentality we have is we have to be pushed. We need someone to push for us to get the job. So I would say change your mentality. For me, what has worked is the people that I know, if I see they've advertised an opportunity, and I know, and I just tell them, get me an interview. Let me prove to the panel. You might not even be part of the interview, but get me to the interview. Let me prove to these people that I can do this. I have the experience and what they are looking for. So change your mentality from lazima mtu akusukumie upate kazi to let the people you know wakusukumie get that interview and prove yourself. Now, types of applications. There are different types of applications in this job space, whereby I have done all and I'm still doing all. So targeted applications. These are the ones that you've seen. They've advertised on LinkedIn. They've advertised on the different social platforms, job boards. You've seen, then you apply. Those ones, at least, you have a 60% chance to get if you are qualified. Because one, you're guaranteed that the organization has a vacancy because they've advertised. So you have a 60% chance of getting the job. So you just need to package yourself well and do the applications. So there's this is like that's the normal applications that happen out here. You see, you apply, you are either called or you get a regret. That's simple. Now, there's the blind applications. The blind applications that personally I do a lot. I sit like this, I think, why can't I work for Coca-Cola? I go to the internet, look at any email address that I can get related to Coca-Cola and send my application. Because you find like for them, they have an application process where you have to have your like a profile, blah, 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 like that. And it only opens when they have vacancies. So in that situation, it's you go look for any communication email that you can and send your application. And wait, you never know when they might need someone. I have been in a case where I did an application in 2016. In 2016, yes. Then these people call me in 2017 April. I did the application in 2016 around February. They call me in 2017 April. And they are quite okay. And they're like, okay, you made this application at this time. We're just there to see if you might be interested in this role. We currently have a vacancy. So why am I saying that? Is they had it in their database. When they had the position, instead of them advertising, they decided to go to their database. So for me, the other thing that I'm always confident about and why I am sure I get this opportunity is since I started working way back, I'm sure there is not unless it is a new recruitment firm or this is a new consultancy that has come up over the past 1 year. Let me say 1 year. But I'm sure all the other recruitment firms, recruiters, when they go to their database, whichever the year, they will find my CV. When they go to their database, whichever year, they will find my CV. It might be a very old CV, it might be the recent one, but they will find my CV. That is how confident I am. That's why I, with the number of applications that I've been doing out here, and most of them, I'll tell you for sure, they are blind applications. I am interested in this company. I'll look for an email. I'll try look for the person on LinkedIn. I'll share my I'll share my interest. Mm. So blind applications, you don't have hopes with them. You do not know when they'll work. But from my own experience, blind applications work. I've gotten 2 jobs from blind applications, and if you do it, it's not a matter of doing it and having hope it will work. It is more of, you even don't know if they have the role. You don't know when they'll have a vacancy. So it's more of, I tend to say it is best if they have your information in their database, rather than you're waiting for them to apply to advertise, then you apply. Because and Hosea will be able to tell you that when a position arises, the first thing they do is they go to their database to see, do we have someone who can qualify for this role. Number two is, if this person qualifies, have we ever interviewed the person before? That is how it works. So you might be doing even a recent application, but you might find that application won't help you because like a blind application was done by someone else and that person has been considered. So blind applications are those ones that you just do and wait and hope for the best at some point. For me, it works. For others, I don't know, but for me, it works. Now, intentional applications are those ones that I've explained that you want to work for Coca-Cola, you want to work for EABL, you want to work for Safaricom, you want to work for Unilever, you want to work for Bayersdorf, you want to work for whichever company, you want to work for KQ. You make it your life to stalk these organizations at all time to see the opportunities that they have, and you apply. So, because like they don't have opportunities all times, and yes, they keep, as I said earlier, is you have to keep looking at the websites and check, have they posted something, what do they need, like that. So these intentional ones are, I want to work for specific organizations, or I want to work for organizations in a specific industry. So it becomes intentional, like you are targeting this. Okay, let me use this as an example, but don't take me out of context. It's like intentionally, it's like you love or you like a particular lady. You make it intentional, like you have to chase to get that lady. It's not a matter of you're chasing this one, you're chasing this one, you're chasing this one, you're chasing this one. It becomes a bit tricky. But now, for intentional application, you have to be intentional with them, with the organization that you want, and with the specific roles you're looking for. So it's either intentional with the organization or intentional with the industry. So you need to know where you want to place yourself as you build your career. Mhm. Now, when it comes to interviews are quite interesting. For me, I even see internship opportunities I apply. I even see support or admin opportunities I apply. I apply depending with the organization. Now, let me just be clear, depending with the organization. Why? Sometimes I know even that internship I won't get, but I'm applying, I want to get on the table. I want to meet that HR. I want to network with that HR. So because you find there are those people that you will you'll reach out on LinkedIn, they won't respond. You don't have their contacts. You don't know people who know them. But now this organization has called you and they're like, okay, let me go for that internship interview. I know I will not get it. I know even if they tell me I won't take it. But I want to meet the HR. Because you'll meet the HR, you'll talk to the HR, depending. Also, I'm not saying go to interviews and ask for contacts for HR, and I'm not, don't misquote me. You'll lose an opportunity because of some things. But depending on how your rapport is with people and how you know how you know how to handle people, then you can be able to just engage with them. Then a conversation continues after the interview, and that is one person you've already added in your network. So for me, interviews, sometimes I go. There are those interviews that I go intentionally. I want this job. There are those interviews that I go, I want to meet the people. I want to network. I'm going for networking. Okay, I'm not telling them I'm here for networking. I'll behave like a normal candidate. I'll answer questions as asked and all that. But in the back of my mind is more, I want to network with these people. I'll I'll know their names. I'll be able either to follow them on LinkedIn and crack a conversation beyond that. Depending in the interview can be an interview that you're free and you can be able to engage depending with the people's personality. Then if it's just a conversation like that, you can be able to get their contacts and be able to, even if you're not getting their opportunity. So for me, many of interviews that I've gone for have been more of networking opportunities. So that you find like even in some events that I go like for HR events, I find this HR and they're like, we interviewed you for this. Like, yeah. So you find like it helped in growing your network for going for these interviews. The problem is people, you're called for an interview, then the first thing you ask, how much are you paying? If you want to know how much they are paying so that you can go for an interview, how are you supposed to get that information? Maybe even the person when amekupigia kwamba invited for this doesn't know the budget. That is something you can only know when you go to that table and ask, or you can go there and give your expectation. But now we find like sometimes it's us job seekers who cut ourselves off way early before we even get there. Because also like that gives them an impression that this one just wants money. And you'll find there's this organization that you can't get the money you want, but you'll get a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience from there, a lot of opportunity that might come along. Like as a job seeker, don't look at it short term. Start looking at things long term. That's why I say you can be able to. Sometimes you can downgrade yourself now for a better tomorrow. So sometimes you have to have that will of making that sacrifice. Like I'm downgrading now, but in the next 6 months, in the next 1 year, I'll be in a better place. So you have to look at that. So the interviews you can have virtual or physical interview. These days, many people prefer virtual interviews, at least, but not all. Some companies have gone back to the physical interviews, and you have to go, which is still okay. The interviews are normally basic. You just need to understand what's going on with the organization, the operations, and all that, and the role that you're being interviewed for. So the other thing is their assessment. So depending with organizations, so organizations might have different approaches before they get to the interview, the physical or the virtual interview. So you might find an organization sending you a communication that, oh, you've been selected for, you've been shortlisted for this role. We will be sending you an assessment to do. So, what are the assessments for? The assessments are to gauge your emotional intelligence, and most of them actually are to just understand your personality. How are you? How will you handle situations? How will you react in this and that? Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Are you an ambivert? So, like mostly, the assessments are to just look at your intelligence and your personality. They're always online. Uh, they normally have a portal and they send you a link and all that. So you find that there's a job that you'll be told you've been shortlisted. Come for a physical interview, or you've been shortlisted. You will be having a virtual interview on this date. That simple, that done. There's that job that you'll be told you'll have an assessment, then you'll have an interview, whether physical or virtual. Then there's that job that you'll have an assessment, Then it comes to, if you pass the assessment, you go to a written interview. So a written interview, mostly it's for, they'll give you case scenarios to just understand your job understanding of the role, and a few other things like integrity, how will you perform a job, and this and that. So the written tests mostly are scenarios. This is the scenario. How will you deal with this? How do you deal with, whether it's in accounting, whether it's in HR, whether it's in sales. This is applicable in marketing, in IT. This is applicable. So it just depends with the processes of the organization. So you might find assessment, you've passed. Written interview, you've passed. Virtual interview or physical interview. But then there are those others who don't want so much processes. It is assessment, interview. Or this role is a small role, we don't need to do an assessment. Just come do the interview and we see how it goes. So you have to be conversant with these ones and anticipate what might be asked. So this is one thing that I tell. One thing that has helped me in this is the fact that I have good mentors, and uh, I have good a good network. So way back I was not good when it came to doing these assessments, doing these written tests. So you find that I was good when it comes to the interview. But now you find that when I came to start applying for jobs that need me to do assessments and written, it took me time for me to understand how do they want these things answered. How can I express myself better to stand out? How can I give scenarios in a better way that they will feel this is the best way to deal with this situation? So these are things that you can, if you have a mentor, they can assist. If you have a recruiter or these recruitment agencies that they do coaching, or a HR who can be able to coach you on this, this is key. Especially like right now, I'll tell you, 2023, 2024, many big organizations, if you're targeting a big organization, it is something you cannot avoid. You have to do an assessment, or you'll have to do a written test, or you'll have to do both. So it is something you need to just go check the various assessments that can be offered, can be you can be told to do the various assessments, and the written, when it comes to written interview for your role, what do you think can be asked? A written interview is just like a normal interview, but now they want you to just put it down and break it down more. How you will deal with this, how you will do this. Like maybe in advertising, you might be told this is the scenario, create an advertisement or create a poster. So they just want to see how you will work around the various situations. So these are things that you have if you are in the job market, you're looking for a job. These are things that you need to, one, expect, and two, you need to be good at them, because you failed an assessment, so you can't even think of getting anywhere. So you need be to be very confident, and you're very fine in terms of, with this one, with the responses I've given, I am going to the next level. With this one, I am going to the next level. So you just need to fine tune yourself, know what you know uh, what you have as a person, and what you'll be offering, so that you can be able to just express yourself and let people know you better, and your job, because the job is the most important thing. So those are the interviews per se that you're supposed to expect out here. So when it comes to interview preparation, this is something that for the job seekers who are here and have gone for like 50, 60 interviews with nothing, they tend to give up, and now they just wait their call and they just show up. It is, I would say, you can't give up. You don't have an option for giving up at the end of the day, because you have to get what you want eventually. So it's either you decide you're getting it now or you're getting it later. Those are the two options that you have. So, and just number one is make sure that each interview you are you're called, you make it in your head that this is the first interview I'm ever attending. Like you unlearn and forget everything that you know. It's like this is the first interview I'm ever attending. So how am I supposed to work? Don't say like I have gone for a million, I know I'll just do all that. No. Unlearn, forget, say this is the first interview you're going to, not for that company, but ever. So how are things supposed to work? So number one is make sure you'll be presentable, whether virtual, whether whether physical. Make sure you're presentable. People will look at you and they'll be like, okay. See, it's not that when it's physical, you have to do a suit. Then when it's virtual, really don't care, you're there in a t-shirt. Impression sometimes really matter. You can be giving a lot of content, you can be the best candidate, but that first impression is very tricky. Number two, if it's a physical interview, you know, HRs or recruiters are human beings. So there are two people who normally leave an impression that they'll never forget. As in that there's no two way about it. The first person who's interviewed and the last person who's interviewed. Those are impressions that HRs will never forget. Now, the first person also said kind of sets the pace of the room. So if you, from my own experience, if you're a first person, you really need to get the energy, get the facts, like leave an impression in you. They will always like, okay, this person is good, but not as the first one, not as the first one, but we shall see. This fifth person is good, but the first one was okay. So if you can be able to, that's why for me, if I'm asked for a virtual interview, I'll give the earliest time. I'll give the earliest time at 9, 8. Let me be the first person and finish with it and give all the energy that I have. If it's a physical interview, I'll try. If they don't give a specific time that I'm supposed to be there, I'll try be a first person there so that I leave that impression. The last person leaves an impression also because I'm like, so we are finishing. So the person will also leave an impression. So you just need to know basically whether you're first, whether you're last, whether you're in between. Ensure you will leave an impression. This guy is to remember you. Isikue panelist number one anasema, can you remember the fifth person called John? Then none of the panelists are remembering John. They're like, let me go back to my notes, like that. No. So it has to, when you're doing whether a physical or a virtual, just try to leave an impression that these people will remember you. Sometimes when it comes to recruitment, they might not get you for that role. Sometimes you might be too good. I've been in interviews where they tell you, oh, you're overqualified for this role. We do not have, we can't take you for this role, but there's a role coming in the next month that we shall consider you for. So that's why I'm saying you have to do your best and you have to leave an impression. They might not take you. For you, you might feel I need to get this role, but for them, they're like, this person is overqualified, but we can consider them for this other role. So there are those people who get jobs that way. A company is recruiting for 10 people, but let's say they're recruiting for one role now as a sales agent. You've gone there, you've done, you've shown your best. Then they tell you you're overqualified. We think we're having a sales coordinator or a sales manager position that is coming up that we think you can be best fit for that one. So in the next 1 month, we shall give you a call. But if you don't give your best, then they won't even consider you in any way. So that's something you should also just know how when you're there with them. So plan your time well, ensure you're there on time. Then before conduct a mock interview. If you can have a coach who will be giving you questions, taking you through questions per se, and you're giving your responses, it gives you more confidence on how you'll answer, how you interact with these people. So mock interviews help a lot. And for me, that has helped me a lot. Like, because there are those panels that you'll go, and these people, like, you find like 4 or 5 people. They are there and they are stone faced. They are there like kama wamekusha kutisha tu, yani umeshaingia baridi na ujaanza hata question one, tell us about yourself. So these mock interviews tend to prepare you for what you anticipate, how you'll be able to answer, how you'll conduct yourself. So this, if you can be able to do this often, you'll be perfect in this game and you can beat the system. Confidence is key. If you're not confident in an interview, they smell it as soon as you enter that door. If you're not confident, they smell it. You know, like virtually you might not know, but if you're there for a physical interview, the panel will smell this one is not confident enough. Then question 1 and 2, they'll throw you off. Then they'll just know here we are done. So confidence is key. So you must have that confidence before you go there. When you get there, it will be 10 times. Then the other one is you have to conduct research on the company. When it comes to interviews, what I have learned, if you're in the private sector, don't say that I am in this position, I have done these interviews, I know my job, I know I can do. Then you go running applying for a job in the NGO space, thinking that you will land it because you already know and gone for a million interviews. I'll tell you for sure, you fail. How interviews are conducted mostly in the NGO space are different from how they are conducted in the private entities. That is from my own experience and from my own research. So you need to know, like you'll find this question is mostly asked by many private entities. So what do you know about us? What do we do? And all that. Those are questions that don't miss in those interviews that you go. You might go for an interview with an NGO and that question might not come up. That is the big difference. So you just need to know which organization are you going for. For now, I will tell people who, if you're looking for a private entity, you have to do research on those. If you're looking for things in other species, you have to do research, but also you have to know how are their interviews conducted. And that's why I still send people back to, if you can have someone to coach you in this space, this is how it works. In this space, this is how it works. This is what you're supposed to expect. So you can be able to do your homework well. Now you have to understand the role. There's no way that they'll ask you something about the role and you'll tell them you don't. Okay. In interviews, I say you can say you don't know if the scope probably is bigger than what you've been handling before. That one they will understand, but they can't ask you a basic thing which is within your scope, and you say you don't know, and it was within the job description. So you also have to read the job description before you go for that interview, because there are those, I call them rogue HRs. I really don't like those HRs who refer to 2 things. So in an interview, everyone is always tense, so you can't remember everything. And there are those things then that you will say, and they tell you, can you repeat that? And you can't even remember you say them. So you find that there's that HR who will refer to your CV. As per your CV, you have mentioned here. And you see, if you haven't absorbed your CV in your head, then you'll have a huge time, a difficult time in answering that. So one, you also need to know your CV. Then there's that HR also, like as per our JD, if you didn't read that job description, my friend, you're done. Because if the entire panel decide to push it through the JD, you are done. If you can't remember, you didn't go through it, you didn't even cram it, like you are done. So you need to know the JD, you need to know your CV, because you might find those HRs who will refer everything to those 2 things, and you'll be done. Then you can prepare possible questions in they're the basic questions of tell us about yourself. Then there are those specific role questions where if you've gone to several interviews for the same role, you'll know they can ask this, they can ask this, they can ask this. So you can just anticipate this is what they can ask. Now, the other thing that personally I learned with time is having a notebook. And I'll give an example from when you see on TV when these people are being vetted. People don't go there with tablets and laptops for fun. People go there with these things so that, because if okay, personally I've been in panels where this one asks, that one asks, that one asks, that one asks, then you're supposed to answer. So if by the fifth person asking, you can't even remember the first person, what the first person asked, then you are done. Then you'll tell them repeat again. So, and these people can't keep it. Okay, in the interview they'll tell you, oh, if you don't understand something, tell us to repeat again. But if you tell them to repeat 3-4 times, my friend, even them they'll be like, we need challenge. So unakuwa challenge before the real challenge comes. So one thing I learned is it doesn't hurt. Take a notebook, have it during your interview. When they ask questions, write them down, write them down, write them. Okay, you don't have time to write the entire question. Write them briefly that you can understand, so that when the last person poses, you can be able to give a comprehensive answer for all these questions. And while you're answering those questions, keep eye contact to the people who asked the questions. I can't be looking at this person. I can't be looking at panelist 1 and I'm answering a question for panelist 4. So you just write down your question so that you can remember. They don't repeat, and you're looking like, there's a problem with this one. Then in an interview, you've reached there. You found the terrorizers. So now hapo siku hapo, even if an interviewee has left the room, make it like you are not there, you don't know anyone, you are new. Just go, knock the door, wait for them to tell you come in, because maybe even for them they are preparing themselves before they get in. They allow the second candidate to come in. So don't just go opening the door ni kama ni kwako. Go knock, talk to, greet them. Personally, I normally say it's not your place, so ask for permission to sit. Then they'll direct you where you're supposed to sit. I've been in a situation where I've entered a room and my assumption was I'm supposed to sit somewhere, and kumbe that place ilikuwa for someone, for a different panelist, anafaa kukaa hapo. So I felt a bit weird after they told me, no, you're not supposed to sit there, go sit the other side. But I was like, okay, but depending on how the room was, I made a joke of it, and it was brushed off. It wasn't something big. So let them direct you to where you're sitting. Be polite. It doesn't hurt. Use appropriate language, what you understand best. Don't speak Sheng, because some people don't like these things. Just either, if you can't speak English, request, is it possible for me to be responding? Because I know you understand English, yes. So, but if you can't speak English in a way that you feel it might make you not pass, request, is it possible for me to respond in Swahili? Because it has to be a language that they also understand. So the panelists are never stones that they can't give to some request they can't understand. They just want to understand why. Then you just explain yourself. I'm good in English, but I have a problem. They'll understand, and you'll see, and you can still ace that in it. The problem is people tend to assume panelists are homo, they can't do this, they can't waive this. That is never the case. You'll find people are just okay. Then when you sit, mind your body language. Mind your body language, because sometimes you find that many people, even myself, when I talk, I'll move my hands. So it depends. So just mind your body language, because sometimes your body language speaks more than what is coming out of your mouth. So mind your body language, your sitting posture. You can just sit like kiti yako, kama karibu inue mguu kwa meza, like you just have to present yourself in a good way. Mm. For me, I at one point I found a very rogue HR that just that I can't mention the organization, but the HR told me, "Thank you for coming." They have not even interviewed me. I've just sat. They came and they sat. So hi, so you're Owen? Yes. Thank you for coming. It was kind of during the Corona period. So they were like, "Can you remove your mask?" I removed my mask. I was fine. Then she went silent and said, can you tell us about yourself?" Then I explained myself. Then the HR was like, "Okay." Uh, there were there were two ladies. There were two ladies. Sorry to say, but they had a lot of attitude. I didn't understand where the attitude was coming because it was very early in the morning at 8:30. So I don't know where the attitude was coming from. Then the lady was like, "Okay, it was nice that you've come, but we can no longer continue this interview because I don't like your eyes." I've never been told that by a HR. I've never had a HR who judges someone by their face or their eyes, or as in, I've never, like, that was my first. And first I was shocked. I didn't know how I'm supposed to react to that, but I just told her, okay, because sometimes you just have to handle the situation in a cool way. So I told her, okay, it's okay. Thank you for the opportunity. And I left. I left with a lot of questions. But I have never understood why she judged me by my eyes. I don't know how she wanted my eyes to look like, or the candidates that she normally looks for, how the eyes are. I didn't understand that fact. But yeah, so that just comes to the body language and the posture and all that. So to my story, I they ended up calling me for a second time, and it was nice for me to have a comeback for them and tell them, "I'm not coming to your office. Let me have a virtual interview." I did the virtual interview. The virtual interview went well, but at that time, I still didn't feel like there's no way I'm supposed to be talking to someone or reporting to someone who doesn't like my eyes. So I waited because sometimes, even like as human beings, we have ego and we need this comeback. So when they got back and I got the interview, then they gave me the position. I was like, "Thank you so much for the position, but I want to turn it down. I can't take it." And the reason is, you guys said you don't like my eyes. So as in, like, I really had, as in, like, that comeback. Really, I'm not saying that go to interviews and make comebacks. They might backfire, but for me, it was just a satisfaction part that, like, there's no way. I didn't see that person as a very competent HR to judge someone in that perspective. But as I said, HRs are human beings. You'll meet different people in the panel. You just need to know how to handle the situations. You'll enter a room where you'll find they are jovial people. They want to talk to you. They want stories. They can even go beyond the work scope to understand. And there are those HR, they're like, "We're doing this interview. These are the questions. Da 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 da. Finish. Done. Go." So as an interviewee, you need to read the room. The first 5 to 10 seconds you enter, are these people who we can sit, talk more, engage, or are these people the ones who want da 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 done? So you need to know that quite fast, so that you know, so that you don't go there saying something, saying a small joke, and then they are not there to joke. I'm not saying jokes are not bad in interviews, but it depends on the people you're interacting with. It depends with the panelists. It depends with the tone that they have set. So you just need to learn these things within the first, like, 10 seconds that you enter the room or you enter a virtual meeting. You'll be able to just know, okay, this is the direction I should take. Or if you take this direction without knowing, you'll know how to switch quite fast after you've seen what's going on. So you just need to understand that. Then you need to explain yourself in a very good way that they'll be able to understand it. Like, do not do not assume that they know. Rajesh, the problem is you're being interviewed by HR, you're being interviewed by someone in, maybe in accounts, that it's an accounting job. Then you'll assume this accounts person understands the credit and the debit. Think like this person doesn't know, and you're explaining it to them because they want to understand how you handle the processes. So assume like this person does not know anything, and explain to the best of your ability. It gives you an upper hand. And while you're explaining, personally, I say use examples, which assists. So use an example where this is a situation. This was the situation. This was the task that was to be done. This is the action that I've done, and this was the final results. At no given point that at no point should you ever give a result that is negative. You give, sorry to say, but even you can cook a result to be positive in a situation. But if you give a negative result, even you put yourself on the other side of the table, will you choose that person? This person was given this task, this person never delivered, it's negative. So this person is not qualified for this position. So when you're answering your questions, it's easier. Actually, it makes it very easy. If you're given a question, then you look at it, then can I answer it in a situation format? Yes. Give a situation. This was the situation. This is the task. This is the action that I took. Like this is my input in this thing. It's not like a group input. You're in the interview alone. This is my input. And if it was a group thing, what was still your input in that group? You have to show. Then show these are the results. Then while you're still explaining, try. You might have a lot of weaknesses, but sometimes I say you can sway the interview to be your way. You can sway the interview. Number one, if you give answers that do not give follow-up questions, if you learn to do that, you're a king. Because there are those answers you can give, then you'll hear a panelist, I have a follow-up question on that. Another one, I have a follow-up question. So if you learn to answer questions without follow, so you will not freeze. You will not freeze, because sometimes follow-up questions can either freeze you or they can make you shine. So for me, I normally look at it like, if you don't have the art to know how to answer in case follow-up questions come, have the art of just answering questions in a way that there won't be a follow-up question. That's how, for me, I do it. And focus on your strengths. In this task, I did this. As you understand, I'm good in da 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 da. Focus on your strengths. Try not to mention your weaknesses, because you'll find those, as I said, rogue HR also might pin you down on those, focusing on those weaknesses. And if a weakness comes up, ensure you have a way to answer and tell them this, yes, I'm not strong at this, but I'm working towards learning this. So I'm learning this, or I'm having someone coaching me through it. So in the next month or so, I'll be good at it. So in case a weakness comes up, show them it is a weakness. Don't fight them on it. Show them it is a weakness. Yes, you understand it's a weakness, but you're working through it for it to stop being a weakness. That shows that you're someone who can be able to learn. You're someone who can be able to listen. So there are some small things that organizations might be looking for to see if are you a good fit for us. Now, the other thing, within the first 2-3 minutes of tell us about yourself, sometimes as panelists, you'll be able to know how long this interview will be, because your pitch will tell us. If your pitch gives us more interesting things to know about you, that interview might be long. But if your pitch is a simple, basic, whatever you're telling us is basically what we already saw on your CV, then the interview won't be long and it might not be interesting. So you need to have a pitch that comes with a punch. You need to learn. You need to learn. You need to, I say, like for me, there's a time that I had rehearsed when you tell us about yourself. I had rehearsed like a 3 to 4 line statement that I would say, and I was saying it in all interviews that I was going to. I had rehearsed it. It's like a memory verse. I had rehearsed it because I felt it had a punch. I had shared it with several people, and they're like, "This one is good. This one will give you a good pitch." So you must have that punchful pitch when you come to an interview. Make people see it's interesting. Now, the other thing is at the end of the interview, number one, always have a question. I'm not saying like it's bad not to have questions, but always have a question and make sure it's an interesting question. So that's why I'm saying that with a notebook, by the time you're going to that interview, you already know this is the organization I've done the research, this is the role. So which questions can I ask? Number one, so how is the protocol in terms of this department that is hiring? Number two, how is the organization culture? Number three, da 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 da. Da. So you can have like 2 or 3 questions maximum to ask that you feel you really need to know answers for. Not unless you hear them saying something within, responding to something within the interview, then another question comes up which you can write and ask later. But at least have a question so that they see, there's like a question is more of like also showing this interest. This person is interested to know more on this. Now, I'm not saying that don't ask about money. I try to tell people in an interview, try not to ask about money. That's what I say. And for me, in the interviews that I go to, I don't even ask about what is the salary. Because number one, there are those job adverts that already say the salary. They say salary range 40 to 50. So either way, it will range between there, depending with experience. So there's no need for you to ask. There are those ones who don't show. Now, many recruiters and HR that I've interacted with, they tend to see if your first question is about money, you're more interested in the money. Many. So, but I say it's all about you prove yourself in an interview. If they call back, then they'll tell you this is what we are offering. So you can give your counter. But don't, because like you most interviews they'll ask you, it's not about even you asking that, but they'll ask you what's your expectation. So they'll have it in mind. So there's no need for you to even ask what is your salary scale, because they might not even give you. So have a question to ask, and always be thankful for the opportunity, because at the end of the day, if they had not called you, then where would you be at the end of the day? So just be thankful for the opportunity, and show that you're looking forward for a positive response. Just show positivity. So that is my presentation per se regarding the job search. That has been my journey, plus the tactics that I have personally used. This is they say tried and tested. So I have these are things that personally I've tried. These are things that personally I've done, and I have grown. I've really grown. It's not an easy journey for sure. I'll tell you, it is not an easy journey, but you need to be persistent. You need to be focused. You need to know what you want. You need to have the right people on your side, because with jobs you can't fight by yourself. You need to have right people on your side. The right people must know you are looking for something. So even if you don't see it, when they see it, they remember you. With networking, it's not about we have to be chatting every day like we are friends. No, it's a matter of I know you are there, you're looking for something. I can help you this way, you can help me this way. That's how networking works. So you have to keep all these processes in the job market. You have to keep all these processes going on at the same time. There's no way you'll say I have a good CV. I'll just keep applying like this. I don't care about LinkedIn. As in, like these things are intertwined in one way or another. So you have to be good in all for you to ace that one job that you're looking for. So yeah, thank you, Osea, for the time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Owen. Maybe you can give him a clap in the chat with the emojis down there. Just appreciate Owen for the very good session. I believe it's been very educative. Yeah, I can see Sharira Faith. Thank you. I think I've also learned a lot. I always ask Owen because he's never quite phased about jobs. That he tells you, okay, today I'm jobless, but I'm not worried. Why? Because he's confident in what his process. So probably it will work for you. and I believe that we've gained quite some insights. So I would like to open it up for a brief Q&A. Any questions? Anyone who has a question they would want Owen to answer, or you're welcome to unmute and then ask your question. Feel free. Or if you want to type it in the chat, I can read it out for you. Anyone?
I have a question.
Yes, Faith, go ahead.
Okay, so there are these instances where you go to an interview and you get the interview was great, the feedback was great, and then well, they go silent. So just asking, maybe after how long do, as an interviewee, how do you go about following up on how was the process, instead of you're holding on to hope and there's nothing, and then how do you actually follow up to the interviewer for the feedback? Yeah.
Okay, so you're trying to say that you go for a job and you feel that everything was okay and you're waiting for feedback, but time
Yeah.
lapses and you don't
Yeah.
get feedback. So
Mm.
Owen, you can answer that.
Sure. So, as I mentioned, HRs get a lot of applications and all that. So now you'll find that recently I've noticed there are those applications when you do, they'll send you a response and say, if you don't get back, if you don't hear from us within 2 weeks, you should just know you're not a successful candidate. You're not successful. You understand?
Yeah.
And those that don't, so you have to, they can send you an email and you don't read it and you just ignore and you keep having the hope. That is number one. Number two, sometimes it takes a while for there are those HRs for sure, they never respond. Those ones
Yeah.
they never respond. So in such scenarios, I just say just tell yourself you did your part and maybe you were not qualified. Because no matter what you might do, you might not get a response. But in that scenario, if you have a contact, like an email that contacted you for the interview and all that, just draft an email, write to them. I did an interview on this date about this role. I would like to follow up. Process. So
Okay.
when you do that, I'm sure they will respond. When you write to them, I'm sure they will respond. But recently, I've seen very many roles. They tend to just say, if you don't hear from us within this period, then just know you are not successful. So you should just know. But if it's that scenario where there's a contact you can write to because they contacted you in some way, you can just write to them and do a follow up. But also you need to understand jobs are a gamble. You either get or don't get.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you also have to ile unajaribu tu kuona venye itaenda.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I believe that is well answered. Thank you, Owen. Yeah, and on my end, I will also encourage don't put all your eggs in one basket, because if someone has not given you feedback for a month, just count that as gone, and just count it gone, so that if you are reached out after that, then that's just a bonus. But if you invest all your emotions in it, waiting for that job, then you might stop looking for other opportunities that are suitable for you, yet this one is already gone. So just be flexible, and as Owen has said, you can get the job or you can fail to get the job, sir. So that is very, very much okay.
Okay.
Ruth, go ahead, Ruth. Just
Hi, good
unmute.
afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I have an inquiry. There are situations where you've
Yes.
made an application and the HR are gracious enough to maybe come back to you and tell you like, yes, you really did get to make the application. However, because of this and that, you did not. It's more or less like a rejection kind of email. I just needed to know,
Yes.
is it prudent for you to reply to such an email? And if so, what is the best way of replying to such an email, and maybe the impact of you having to reply or not replying the email, how you can go about it? Thank you.
Hi,
Hi.
Owen. Let's go ahead. Sorry,
Okay,
I had a
no problem.
connection issue. Yes.
So Ruth, you find that if a HR is courteous enough to respond, for me the best.
Have you made some
That's what I'm
session?
answering. So
Okay.
in my opinion, what I would say is you can answer it in a positive way and ask for two things. If it's a HR who has enough time and has analyzed your profile, they can be able to. You ask them if they can be able to share the specificity of the matter that made you not to get the role, so that it can be something that maybe you can improve when you get to the next when you try land the next job. So you can ask for them to just break it down as to why you didn't get the role. And number two, just be thankful for the opportunity and request them to keep your profile in case something else arises along your line. It might be maybe assuming you're in sales and this is the sales agent job, you'll find that maybe there might be something else along the sales line that you can be able to do. So it's if they feel that you're a strong candidate, they can just keep your profile for when something comes, they can get back to you. So those are the two things I would say you can just respond and tell them, so that they tell you what made you not get the role, so that probably you can improve in the next thing if it's something that you need to change. And also you can just request them to keep your profile in case any other role arises.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Ruth. Any other questions? Feel free. This is your opportunity for any questions. Okay, I'm looking at the chat. And yes, Joseph.
Good afternoon.
Go ahead, Joseph. Yes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. So my question is, in the topic you said that when you it depends in which level you're searching for a job. Whether you have searched and maybe your certificate is not that strong, you need to go back to school and learn a new skill. So when you start learning this new skill, maybe it's hands-on. So how do you start? You first get a guide, a mentor in that let's say in that skill guide, and it is taking about, let's say, like 3 years, so that when you finish those 3 years you'll be ready for an interview. Or how does one apply that? And another thing is that I had applied for a certain job. I did not get it, but thanks to that opportunity I got in going for an interview, I learned a lot. And so that's my question is, now that it did not work out for the first interview, how should I go on from there now? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I'll still allow Owen to go ahead and answer. Owen.
So as we've agreed, there's no giving up in this thing. So you tried, it didn't work, you'll try again. The thing is, you just need to know if you can't have assuming you have a diploma, you need to know what you're looking for. You can have the dream map or the roadmap of being a director, but with your diploma, you can't be a director. So look for something within what you know you can be able to handle at that point as you work through. That's why you find people are schooling and still working. So they are working in a certain position. Let's say like IT. Someone is working as an IT intern or IT or officer, but still studying. But this, whatever they are studying, is to help them propel them to the next level. So I'm not saying stop whatever you're doing and go to school full time. If you have the means of going to school full time and the finances, I'll tell you, well and good, go. But if you do not have the finance, I like being practical. If you do not have the finances and whatever you to get now is what to propel you in terms of going back to school, in terms of fees and all that, do what is on your don't, because what frustrates people is we apply for bigger jobs than ourselves, so we don't get responses. Then we start wondering, why are we not getting jobs? So apply for something within your scope, within you, something that will get you on the negotiating table, something that will get you to the interview table. You can't apply as a director and your qualifications are not that, then you expect to be called for an interview. So you just need to know what you're applying. Then, when you said about the skill and going back, skills help. You can still learn a skill while you're doing something. Mm. So you just need to know how to balance your current situation. You know best what you're currently at. So for me, I can just give you an overview of how I'm understanding it. But yes, I advocate you can learn something new. But if you can get something to be working on to build your experience as you're learning something new, because you see, even in job search, experience matters. You can have the masters, you have no experience, but someone has a degree and has experience, and they'll get a job. So you have to know how to balance and how to place yourself best. Hope I've answered it right.
Yeah, Joseph, are you satisfied with the answer? Okay, thank you. Yeah, just to add on that, sometimes I think sometimes many people got the advice that you go to school, go do your degree, then go do your masters, and then PhD, then come to work. That one I would clearly tell you it's not quite the right direction, because I have so many people who are now, they have all those qualifications, but they don't have the experience. So when they're applying for jobs, they apply and leave out the masters or leave out the PhD, because the answer they always get is that you're overqualified. You're overqualified. So the best way to go about it would be, if you've gotten your undergraduate, start with that. And then if you have an opportunity to upskill as you do something, because that is time that you will have gone by. And there's someone who had just the bachelor's degree and has done quite a bit. Let's say if your master's took maybe 4 years, this person has 4 years of experience, and you're coming back with your master's, and you still need to get in through at the entry level. So if it's HR, you've done your degree, there's someone who got in at HR assistant. By the time you're finishing your master's, this person is already at HR manager position, depending on how they were able to push themselves and dedicate to the work. So yes, papers are good, but sometimes experience trumps papers, given the scenario. So let the additional education help propel you, rather than you go acquire the education and then come back to look for the experience. If you can do it side by side, even better, because getting in, like right now, you see how the job market is. Jobs are fewer and fewer. So you might have a master's. I'll give an example of CPA. When CPA started off, so many people went and did CPA. Right now, you'll find someone who is a CPA K, they need to do accounts, and they're getting in at entry level. Yet it is the professional course for accountants. But now, because there are so many in the market, the market is saturated, and you're able to get an accountant at a lower cost. So it affects your work. So you can imagine someone who got into the workplace and did CPA as they worked. So they've already grown within the industry, as opposed to someone who has done the CPA, gone for masters, and then now has come back to find that you have to get in at the bottom, and you feel you're frustrated because you can't start from the bottom because of your qualifications. So it's something that you need to balance out, if you ask me. But as Owen says, you need to push on. You need to find opportunities for yourself and keep going. You can't afford to give up, because by the time you're giving up, you've already gone miles. You've gone miles in achieving. Let's say you've applied for 100 jobs and you're giving up. Yet probably the 101 is what will give you that opportunity. Any other question? Chrysalis? Any question as we are closing? I know we've gone way above the time. So I would assume that we don't have any other question. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank our guest, Owen. Thank you very much for the insight you've given us in terms of the job search and the strategies you use. I believe these strategies will go a long way in helping all of us to achieve our career goals. And in case you need help from us at Denidel, feel free to reach out on our email address. Our email address, I'll put it on the chat, info@denidel.com. So we offer career services. So that is CV writing, LinkedIn, cover letter, interview coaching, career coaching. As you've seen, coaches help you bypass a lot of mistakes in your career. So if, let's say, you are looking for guidance or mentorship in HR, if you talk to, let's say, Owen, and you're in HR, they'll be able to tell you these are the mistakes I made, and this is how you can get there faster, because you don't need this that is now obsolete. Yes, we did this, but it's obsolete right now. So you need something different. So they help give you or propel your career faster. So instead of getting there in 5 years, you might as well get there in 2 years, given the kind of coaching and mentorship you get. Also at Denidel, we offer HR consulting and management solutions, where if you have, let's say you're in an organization and you need HR consulting, you can reach out to us to also assist you in this. So I would like to thank everyone for taking time to attend this session, and feel free to engage in the WhatsApp group. I see it's been shared. The WhatsApp group is here. So we normally share jobs in the group, jobs that are available. The ones we are recruiting will clearly tell you that these are the ones we are recruiting for. So those ones we have, you'll be able to brand it with our logo to show you that we are recruiting for those ones. And some are from our partners. So as Owen has mentioned, sometimes you find your HR colleagues reach out to you to recruit for a certain position even before they advertise. So we also have such opportunities. So it's always good to be keen. If you're looking for a job, be keen in all these groups. Yes, it might be tiring, but it is part of the process. So you can look at the process and trust in the process, as we always say. So thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Timothy. Thank you, Owen. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Harriet. Harriet, yes, go ahead. I see you have something. Just unmute if you Okay, okay. Not noted. Just go ahead. You can pick the link from the chat, and then our email address is info@denidel.com. Okay. Chrysalis, just now you will get it accepted. Thank you very much. I think anyone still using the link? Chrysalis, I think I've added you. Harriet, Jackson, Rita, Ruth. I've seen it. Thank you, Harriet. We'll add you shortly. I think it's been approved. Let me just confirm. It should have been approved. Yeah, I think it's approved. Just confirm. Ambani. So thank you very much, guys. I think we can now call it a